All right. If you look at my segment length, it's 4 3/30, which is actually 4.093. When I multiply that by my number of segments, which is 12, that should tell me how long a piece of wood that I need. Okay, I'm just getting ready to start my segment, and this is my sled, and it moves very well, but it's good and tight. There's not any slop in it. Okay, I've already set my blade height. If you notice, I have my teeth a good piece above my wood there. That helps the teeth coming down, will help prevent tear out back here. I've got a 40 tooth blade, and I really get a good cut with that 40 tooth blade just by having it cutting down like that. But now I'm going to set my table up for 12 piece segments, which I'll move this to 12 and lock in the pin. There it is. Okay, now it's all set up for 12 piece segment. Go ahead and loosen those up. One day I'm going to put knobs on here, but you know, that's just the way it goes. Alright, just back everything out of the way. Now I want to just knock this corner off here for starters. That'll give me a 12 piece segment. That's a 15-degree cut here and a 15-degree cut there. Alright, so here we go. That's a 40 tooth blade. I don't know if you can see this. Let me get in here a little bit closer. That is a very good cut. Very good cut. No sanding on that to remove the fuzzies. And that's a 40 tooth blade. Don't let anybody tell you gotta have an 80 or a 320 tooth blade or something like that to make a smooth cut. Alright, now I got to get my segment length, which is 4 3/30. 4 3/30. I'm going to use this, measure down 4 3/30, right there. Now, I made my first cut like this. Now I'm going to roll it over. I'm going to start cutting all my segments like this. I'm going to line my mark up with this far side kerf over here. I'm going to bring this up. I'm going to lock that down. Bring this up. Lock it down. Okay, alright, that should be a good cut. Let's just see. Four and 3/30. 4 and 3/30. Okay, alright, so now that's the first one. Now everything's set up. I just I just roll with it, just like that. Okay, well now I got all my segments cut. So now what I have to do is I've got to cut this little decorative piece, and I've got all these cut to an 1/8" stick. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to square off one edge of it and get my glasses on. See how high I can get my blade. All right. So now I'm just going to square off one edge and this one. There's 9 of those. Now all I have to do really, because this doesn't have to be dead on accurate, is these have to be as long as that side right there. All I'm going to do, I'm going to mount that there and scribe it off. Alright. Okay, well, I cut a couple of extra pieces, but I've got 12 here. I've got all these little pieces here that go in between them. So I'm going to do my dry fit now, and make sure that it goes good. Hopefully it will anyway. I think that's going to look nice. There were very few fuzzies. Now there were some, but very few. Okay, well I'm sorry I ran out of batteries, but I finished this glue up. And all I did, I glued like these two, and then those two, and then these two, all the way around. And then I came back and I glued this section to this section, and then this section to this section on around. So I went around, I did 6, and I came around again and did 6 again. So, but anyway, you can see these joints. All these joints are really, really, really tight. And I haven't even used a clamp to hold it together. I saw that video, and I'm going to try to find that guy again so I can link to that video and let you guys see it. But he is that really impressed me watching his video with the not using clamps. I've always worried myself to death trying to clamp these things up, and half the time you end up messing up your ring when you do. I'll start facing this off and rounding it down. Well, okay. Alright. I've got my bolts, I got all my pieces cut, glued together, and all this stuff. Now I need to start sanding each layer flat. Okay. My segmented layers, this one and this one, are the same thickness. My bottom layers here are the same thickness. So I'll run those, you know, at their own time. But first of all, this was my thicker bowl. It's like 1 1/8 inches thick or something like that, which is a little bit thicker than the layers of my second bowl, which was about 1 inch thick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and run these through first and get them all sanded nice and flat on both sides, and then we're going to glue these things together. Alright, well, let's get this thing started. I'm going to be using my little shop made drum sander to do this with. Alright, before I start sanding these things flat, I've marked just pencil marks all the way around this thing. All the way around, just like this. And you know, covered most of this surface. And when I sand down and I get all those lines going, then this surface will be flat. And then I'll flip it over and I'll do this surface also. And I've already got all my pencil marks made. Okay, well now I've got everything good and flat on this side. All my pencil marks are gone, which means that's good and flat. Now I'm going to roll them over, and it shouldn't take very much to get the remainder of this flat. So I'm just going to turn it over and I'm going to send the bottom side through. That'll give me 2 parallel sides. Well, okay, all my pieces and parts are done. Now I've just got to get my orientation right, which this should be it. Triangle, 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 okay, triangle, 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 okay. Alright, so I've got it all turned the way I want it turned. Alright, so I'm going to flip this over just like this. Try to keep that same orientation there. I'm just going to go ahead and draw another little triangle here, just so I'll know as I glue this up. Okay, I've got all my sanding done. All my sanding's done now. So now I've got to start my glue up. Make sure you're in the okay. And all that consists of is keeping everything in line. Okay, there's my triangle. I've got my glue lines here and here to line up the center that way, and then I've got my pencil marks here and here to keep everything centered that way. Hopefully it'll be close enough. Alright, so I'm going to make sure I use plenty of glue. Glue these together. Now, this piece. Looking for my triangle. Right there it is. Line it up. And just kind of squeeze it around a little bit there. Start lining everything up. My lines. My glue mark, or my glue lines. Okay. Alright. Get my good seeing glasses on. Okay, alright. Okay, that one looks good in the center. I'll go on with this one. Okay. Okay, well, there they are. All glued up. And I use these a lot of times instead of clamps. I mean, instead of a press, because I don't have a press. But that right there works really good. You need a caul on the top to put even pressure, but a ratchet strap is will really hold that down nice and tight. So oh yeah, well, I'll leave that up there until probably tomorrow afternoon sometime. Well, all right. Got them all glued up. It's been at least 24 hours since it was glued up. So now all I'm going to do now is I'm going to put both of them on here, just true them up, take out my glue lines and all that, and smooth the bowl up, and just rough shape it a little bit, and make sure everything's true before I put my segmented ring on the top. So that's really all I'm looking for now, is just to get everything trued up so I can get my segmented ring on top and make sure it's in the center. Just hit, but I hit something. Must have been that knot right there. Yep, that's exactly what it was. Got to be really careful right there. That's alright, that's fixing to be glued up. Okay, nice and flat here and over here. Okay. So I know my segmented ring will glue down nicely to that. Alright. Well, now it's time to put the segmented ring on its respective bowl. And what I've done, I've already brushed this off and made sure there was no dust or anything on it, and also the rim of the bowl also. Make sure there's no dust on it, anything that can cause gaps and all. The bowls look really good so far, and I don't want any gaps in it. I don't want to get any gaps in it now. So anyway, I'm just going to get ready to glue this up. And I'm going to get, just going to do it the same way I did the other. Plenty of glue. Now, just going to flip this over and set it on the bowl. Okay. Move the bowl around a little bit. Make sure get a good glue surface. Then we're going to start measuring. Right here I've got just shy of 1 inch. That's dead on 1 inch. That's 1 inch. Okay, that's just over an inch. I'm going to go this way just a touch. Alright, I got one buck down and I'm just bucking down the last one. That spins good. Alright, here we go. Alright, I'm just going to start kind of scraping it down a little bit. I'm going to use my skew in like a negative rake fashion. Just, you know, at a negative angle. What I'm going to use this for is bringing out the colors. Hopefully, you know, bring out the colors. Alright, we're just going to start applying tone oil, very liberally. And I'll probably put 2 or 3 coats of this. The first couple of coats will soak in really deep. And then you come back and you sand it. Oh yeah, I have sanded to 400 on this bowl, so this is number one of two. See how the CA glue just disappeared? All my repairs, they just disappear. They're gone. I mean, you can barely see them here, but it looks just like part of the grain and everything else. So I like CA better than trying to do a repair with like wood glue. Wood glue is extremely strong, but it doesn't take oil and it doesn't take wax, so therefore the colors don't match back up. But CA, it doesn't actually take oil or wax, but it'll mimic the colors that that the wax or the oil will bring to the piece. So I like using tung oil. I use it a lot, and it's just the Midwax brand I get at Home Depot. Okay, here it is with one coat of tung oil, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take it off and set it aside. I'll take it in the house and let it set up while I do the exact same thing to the second bowl. And then I'll bring this one back and I'll resand at about 320 and 400 again, just to prepare the surface for another coat. I'll put one more coat of tung oil, and then I'm going to start with wax. And I'll just use this paste finishing wax on it. And I'll be back after I get the second coats on them. It'll be several hours before I get back, but I'll see you then. Alright then. Well, I've got 2 coats of tung oil on there, and I just went over it with steel wool. So now I'm going to start applying my wax. Been a couple hours since the last coat. And I'm just going to apply it this direction, this way here, by hand. And this is just paste finishing wax from Minwax. Is all I'm using. Just gonna apply it on by hand. And with the tung oil, it doesn't take a whole lot to get the finish on there, to get the paste wax on there. Alright, well, here we go. I'm going to speed my lathe up. Around 1280 RPMs. It's going to start buffing it out a little bit. just getting ready to make my jam chuck to take my tenon off, because my vacuum truck is not big enough, and I don't have any coal jaws or anything that big either. I think one of my next projects very soon is going to be a long warp chuck. I've been wanting one for a while, and I could have really used one now. So anyway, I know the walls of my bowls are about 45 degrees, so I'm going to trim this down, and as I true it up, I'm going to make this kind of a 45 degree bevel this way here. And that should hold that thing really nice. Be contacting anything. The face won't be contacting anything. But I'm just make sure it's turned up. Round this over just a hair. Make sure this is nice and true. Alright, let's slow it down a little bit until I can see what I'm gonna have here. Let's see how these bolts are going to fit in there. Basically, you want your chuck bigger than the area that you're turning, which is from about here out. So we're going to see how this is going to work, and I think that's going to work just fine. Bring up my tailstock. Get her centered up. Bucket down good. Okay, push in. Well, there we are. The end of a project. A very fun and challenging project. I actually started this thing a week ago, and I've worked on it in my spare time, trying to get it finished for about a week now. And choo-choo downtown. But I've been working on it for about a week. I've been really busy at my primary job, but here we go. Both of them. And like I said in the beginning, these are 15-inch bolts, or 15.5-inch bolts. They're basically twins, which means they look very similar, but there are subtle differences between them. They're both 15.5-inch diameter, they're both 5 inches tall, and they both have an inlay on the inside and the bottom. Very fun project. A lot of steps. But hopefully you enjoyed the video, and you'll go and try one for yourself and see what you can get. And I'm getting ready to do a subscriber picture video. So if you've got any pics or anything you'd like for me to show on my channel, hey, send them to me. And but just know that if you send me a pic, that I'm just going to assume that I have permission to put it on the air, and of course, or on a video, and of course I will give you full credit for your pictures. No problem there. I get a lot of really cool pictures from subscribers, and I enjoy showing them off too. So but you guys have a good day, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope she enjoys her bowls. See y'all down the road.